Now the next is the definition of bounded variation. What do you mean by bounded variation function? Now this is different from bounded, right? A set of function, it is said to be bounded if it lying between some fixed numbers. Okay, now what do you mean by bounded variation? Hello everyone. Let's suppose we have a function which is defined on the closed interval ab. Then this function defined on the closed interval ab is said to be of bounded variation if there is a constant k which is greater than 0, such that for every partition of the interval ab we have we will take the variation of the function over these sub intervals, right? Will we find out the value of fx at the point x naught, then at point x1, then at point x2, then at point x3, and so on. Then we take variations of this. So f of x1 minus f of x naught, f of x2 minus f of x1, and so on, and we add all these variations. If this is bounded by some positive number k, then we say this function is of bounded variation, right? So once again, see, what do you mean by bounded variation? You are given a function defined on a closed interval ab. You first divide this closed interval ab into sub partitions, sub intervals. Okay, over sub intervals you find out the values of f of xi, and then you find out the variations of the functions. Okay, you take mod, means you have to consider the positive value, which if f of x1 is greater than fx naught, then you subtract f of x1 minus fx naught. If you have fx naught is greater than f of x1, then you take the difference f of x naught minus f of x1. So whatever the value is bigger, you subtract from that. So that means this variation is always positive. So take these variations, add over all the subpartitions, right? Means over the interval ab. Then if this value is bounded by some fixed number k, then you say the function is of bounded variation, right? So the variation of the function f defined on the interval with respect to any partition is denoted by this variation over the interval a to b of the function f with respect to the partition p. Okay, so this is written in the form of this. This denotes it is a variation of the function with respect to the partition over the interval ab. This is what? This is nothing but you take the variations. You just with respect to this partition find out the variation of the functions. Okay, then you add it. So this is called the variation, and it will be changed with respect to the partition. Let's suppose in partition we have only 3 points, x0, x1, and the last xn, right? Means a, and then any midpoint or any point between them, and then the last point. Then variation will be different. If you take p having 5 points, means 5 सब points में आपने divide की है, then the variation will be different. So this variation is different for every partition. Okay, so it varies with respect to the partition. So you find all the variations first and then take the supremum with respect to the partition. So with respect to the partition p1, variation value is something. With respect to the partition p2, variation is something. And then find out the supremum of all this. That is called the total variation of the function over the interval ab. So if total variation is finite, you will say the function is a bounded variation. So the total variation, it may be finite, it may be infinite, right? But if your function is a bounded variation, then total variation is always finite. Means every variation is less than equal to some fixed number. So if every variation is less than equal to some fixed number, then the supremum is also less than equal to some fixed number, right? So in that case, total variation is always finite. So this is another definition of bounded variation, that a function is said to be a bounded variation if and only if the total variation of the function is finite. So now just see how we can define the total variation over the interval r. In the previous slide, total variation is defined over the interval AB. We take the partition over AB, find out the variations. Then with respect to the different partitions, we have different variations. Then find out the supremum of all these variation. We will get the value of total variation over the interval AB. Now we are given, rather given the interval AB, we have the set R. We have to define the total variation over the set of real numbers, right? So in that case, we will define this as total variation over the interval minus infinity to infinity is nothing but the variation over the interval minus a to a, and then take the limit a goes to infinity. Okay, so if this variation is finite, we will say our function is a bounded variation on the set of real numbers. Now these are few observations regarding to the functions of bounded variation. Now the first observation is a bounded monotone function is a function of bounded variation, right? Now just see what do you mean by monotone. Either it is increasing or it is decreasing. Okay, so what will be the value of total variation? Let's suppose you are given a function which is in the increasing, right, which is increasing. So if your function is increasing, then clearly the value of the function at x0 will be less than or equal to the value of the function at x1, will be less than equal to the value of the function at x2, and so on. Okay, so when you find out the variation, mod will be replaced by simple variation, right? Simple take the difference of two functions. So every point inside will be cancelled out. You left with the first point and the last point. Okay, so we will get only FB minus FA. For every partition, we will have only FB minus FA. So this is the value of total variation of the function over the interval AB. So once again, see what is given to us. We are given a bounded monotone function, right? Function is bounded means FB and FA both are finite numbers. Secondly, it is monotone. Let's suppose it is monotone increasing. So we first interval AB ko we have take the partition, right? So let's suppose we partitioned it into x0, x1, x2, x3 till up to xn, right? So clearly, since our function is monotonic increasing, so f of x0 is less than equal to f of x1 is less than equal to f of x2 and so on up to f of xn. Now you find out the variation. Variation is what? It is the summation of f of xi minus f of xi minus 1. Mod will be, there is no need to take mod because already we know that this function is increasing. So f of xi is greater than f of xi minus 1. Okay, so now you find out the sum. Open this sum, substitute the value of I. So what you get f of x1 minus f of x0 plus f of x2 minus f of x1 plus f of x3 minus f of x2. So now just see, f of x1 will be cancelled out with f minus of f of x1, f of x2 will be cancelled out minus of f of x2 and so on. So you left with the last which is f of xn, that is nothing but f of b, and the first f of x0 which is nothing but f of a. So we have the difference of these two, right? And since our function is bounded, so means these all values are fixed finite values, so therefore this difference is also finite, so it means our function is of bounded variation. So whenever our function is bounded monotone, it is always of bounded variation. So this is our first observation, that bounded monotone function implies bounded variation. Now the second observation, a function of bounded variation is necessarily bounded but not conversely. Now the second observation is what? Every function of bounded variation is bounded, but every bounded function need not be of bounded variation, right? Now just see the proof of this. Let's suppose we are given a function of bounded variation. So bounded variation means with respect to every partition, variation is finite. So let's suppose we take just only one partition x point between the interval AB. Then variation is what? F of x minus f of a plus fb minus f of x. Clearly every variation is less than equal to total variation, because total variation is nothing but the supremum of all these variations, right? So we have this thing that f of x minus f of a plus mod of fb minus f of x, it is less than equal to total variation over AB, right? So now just see, this is what it is. You can take f of x to be combined, right? And you can take f of a to be this side. Now just see how you will get this step. Since it is a mod of these two numbers and it is less than equal to total variation, so clearly each number separately is less than equal to this number. So that means mod of f of x minus f of a, it is less than equal to the total variation, right? And we know that this is greater than equals to mod of f of x minus mod of f of a. So we can take mod of f of a to be this side, right? So mod of f of x is less than equal to mod of f of a plus total variation. Okay, since the sum of these two positive number is less than equal to this number, it means each number is less than equal to this number, right? So f of x minus f of a is less than equal to total variation. Similarly, f of a minus f of x, this is less than equal to total variation, which implies mod of f of x is less than equal to, you can take f of a to this side, is less than equal to mod of f of a plus the total variation. Okay, so now this is our first value of the function. Clearly this is finite. Total variation is finite because given that function is a bounded variation, so the whole thing is finite. It means mod of f of x is less than equal to some finite number, right? Here x is any arbitrary point of closed interval AB, so it means it is true for every point of the interval AB. So it means our function is bounded, right? Now the next part, but not conversely. For converse, we consider a function on the defined on the interval closed interval 0 1 to r, which is given by this: whenever x is not equal to 0, the value of the function is x into sine pi by x. Whenever x is 0, the value of the function is 0. Now clearly this function is bounded. Now why this is bounded? We know that sine function is bounded and our x is also lying between the interval 0 1. So therefore this is also bounded, right? So this is bounded function, but now we will show that this function is not of bounded variation. So for this we consider a partition 1, 2 by 3, 2 by 5, 2 by 7 till up to 0, right? So we take this partition, this particular partition of the interval 0 1, okay, and now we find out the variation over this. So what will be the variation? F of 1 minus f of 2 by 3 mod plus f of 2 by 3 minus f of 2 by 5 mod, and so on. Okay, so now what is the value of f of 1? When you put x to be 1 over here, it is sine of pi, which is 0, right? So the value of f of 1 is 0. What is the value of f of 2 by 3? Now you put the value of the x 2 by 3. It is 2 by 3 into sine of pi 2 by 3, which is 3 pi by 2. Now what is the value of sine 3 pi by 2? What is the value of sine 3 pi by 2? This is minus 1. So minus minus plus. So you get this is 2 by 3. Right? So this is 2 by 3. Plus. Again the value of this function is minus 2 by 3. And value of the function 2 by 5 is 5 pi by 2, right, which is plus 1. So you get minus minus common, so you get again the sum of these two, and so on. F at 0 is 0, right? So you can substitute like this, right? So now just see, each term is repeated twice, 2 by 3, 2 by 3, then 2 by 5, again 2 by 5, and so on. So we can take this 2 to be common, and 2 is with due to repetition, so you will have 4 over here. Okay, so you get 4 times 1 by 3 plus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 7 and so on till up to 1 by 2 n plus 1. So this is a series, right? This series is series 1 over 2n plus 1, and by a Cauchy integral test or P series test, we know that this series is divergent, right? You can find its integral. This is log of 2n plus 1. So when you substitute the limits, it is infinite. So this is divergent. Clearly this series is divergent. So this series is divergent. So then clearly its partial sum is not bounded above. Okay, this series is divergent. So the partial sum, it means it is not finite. So this is infinite, right? So we get a partition for which the variation is infinite. So if for any partition the variation is infinite, then supremum is also infinite. So that means total variation of this function over the interval 0 to 1 is infinite. So it means our function is not of bounded variation. This is an example of a function which is bounded but not of bounded variation. So it means every bounded function need not be a function of bounded variation, right? Every bounded function will become a function of bounded variation if that function is monotone also. Okay, so if we have a bounded function, we have a monotone function, then it is always of bounded variation. But if we have a function of bounded variation, right, then this always implies it is bounded but not converse. Now the third observation, this says a function of bounded variation need not be continuous, right? For example, let's suppose we have a function which is defined on the closed interval 0 2, and this is step function, greatest integer function. Clearly the variation is finite. This is monotone function, this is bounded function. So by the property A, it is of bounded variation. Okay, we can find its variation, it is always finite. However, this function is not continuous. So this implies that a function of bounded variation need not be continuous. Similarly, vice versa, a continuous function need not be of bounded variation. For this we have the same example. This one, this function is continuous function, however it is not of bounded variation. Okay, so function of bounded variation need not be continuous and vice versa. Now just see the next observation. This says if f and g are two functions of bounded variation on the closed interval AB and lambda is any constant, then lambda times f and f plus g both are the functions of bounded variation on the closed interval AB, right? Means what? Whenever you have two functions which are of bounded variation, then their sum and scalar multiple of the function, they are also satisfy the same property that they are the functions of bounded variation, right? Now why this thing hold? Because we know that the total variation of the sum of the two functions over the interval AB is clearly less than equal to the total variation of the function of f plus total variation of the function g. As we know that the supremum of the sum of two function is always less than equal to the supremum of first function plus the supremum of second function, right? So using that property we have this inequality. Okay, so if this is finite, this is finite, the sum of two is again finite, so we will get this is finite, right? So if f and g are a function of bounded variation, then f plus g is also. The same way, lambda times f, you can take lambda to be outside from the total variation. In the total variation, in every function के साथ आपके पास क्या आएगा, lambda with mod. So you can take lambda to mod to be common, right? So this is nothing but mod of lambda times this. Now this value is finite, this lambda is finite scalar, so ultimate this whole value is finite. Okay, so this implies whenever ever f is a function of bounded variation, then constant multiple is also a function of bounded variation, right? So this is the proof. You can see I have already told you. So now what is the remark? This remark says the set of all functions of bounded variations on any given interval, closed interval AB, it is denoted by BV. BV stands for bounded variation over the interval AB. It always forms a linear space. Linear space means it satisfies these two properties, the sum as well as the constant multiple. So it forms a linear space because it is closed under addition and scalar multiplication, right? So therefore the function of bounded variation, this forms a linear space. Now the next observation, this observation says if function is bounded variation on the closed interval AB and C is any point lying between this interval AB, then we can break this interval into two subintervals AC and CB, and over each subinterval our function is of bounded variation, and conversely means over subpartitions if the function is of bounded variation, then on the whole interval it is of bounded variation. Moreover, the value of the function, total variation of the function over the interval AB is same as that the total variation of the function over AC plus total variation of the function over CB. So we can split the interval AB. We can divide the interval AB, the values will be same. And the next observation is f is a function of bounded variation on the closed interval AB, then the function vf is what? It is defined like this. Now we are taking the total variation over the interval a to x. Here our x is varying over the interval AB. X is any point from this interval AB, right? We denote this function by vf because it is now it is a function of x. It is not a fixed quantity, it is in the terms of x. The value of this total variation is in the terms of x. When you replace x with a, then you get some value of variation of f. When you replace x with b, then you will get the variation function over the interval AB, and so on. So it is not, now it's not a fixed quantity, and this function is known as variation function, and it is easily verified that this function is increasing function. Now why it is increasing function, you can show easily. Let's suppose you consider any 2 points x1 and x2 such that x1 is less than equal to x2. What we want to show, that variation of f over x1 is less than equal to variation of f over x2. What is the value of variation of f over x1? It is the total variation of the function over the interval a to x1. What is the variation function over x2? It is total variation of the function f over a to x2, right? Since our x1 is less than equal to x2, okay, then clearly total variation of the function over the interval a to x1 will be less than equal to, now one point, at least one point is added because x1 is less than equal to x2, so total variation will be less than equal to total variation of the function over a to x2, right? So that's why variation of the function over x1 will be less than equal to various function of over x2. So this function is always increasing function. So these are the observations